What's up, everyone? Daniel Armstrong coming at you again with another video for the A-Tech Racing Performance Shop. On today's video, I got a 2024 Honda Crf110. This one's going to be a fun one. We're going to be bumping up the suspension on this thing, as well as handling a couple issues that happened in a recent crash. If you're new to the channel, please give me a follow, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys want to see. Let me know how I can help. All right, everyone, you get into the video. I'm going to get in this bike.
Alright, first thing I want to do is get this rear shock replaced. I'm going to be installing a DNM shock that's rated for 250 pounds. First thing I'm going to do is remove this seat and the plastic bodywork. There we go, we got that all the way. Check this out. This chain's definitely got to be replaced. Moving on, we're going to remove these two shock bolts. Once you got those two pulled, you can start wiggling out the shock. Out with the old, in with the new. I just went in through the same way I pulled out the old shock. Got the bolts tightened down. Let's go ahead and move on. Next thing I'm going to do is mess with this ignition. It's not connected, and currently we don't have a key for it, so we're going to pull it out and put a new one in. We're also going to be replacing this front brake lever. This is what happened, went down a recent crash. And need to do a new throttle tube as well, so got some new ones on order, all OEM stuff. Personally, I can't go wrong with it, so let's get these guys installed. We're going to start with the ignition. To get these pulled out, there's two clips on the side of this. You can probably get one out with your thumb. The other one, you may need to get a screwdriver just to press it. I used a little flathead and then just carefully pulled it up. When you go to install the new one, there is a little tab or a key here, so be mindful of that. There's another one on the ignition as well, so you want to find that. Make sure you line it up before you snap this in. Once it's snapped in, it's all installed. You just got to plug in two wires. This is what you're going to be looking for. Now that I got that installed, let's go ahead and try this guy out. All right, no power. So I know we have 12 volts and a fresh battery. Next thing I'm going to do is check the fuses. Not sure if you can see it, but this one looks to be blown. Let's go and pull this one out, look at it in the light. Yep, that one's blown. Let's get a fresh one put in. Now that's installed, let's give this a try. Hey, look, we got power. Perfect. Music to my ears. This customer was also having charging issues, so I'm checking the battery right now. I'm doing the voltage drop test. Now I got the key turned on. Ignition's turned on. 1/10 of a volt drop. Start and check it, see if it's actually charging. This is exactly what I want to see. So this charging system is working. Looks like the only issue was the blown fuse. And the battery seems to be just fine. Perfect. All right, next what I'm going to do is pull off this broken throttle tube. We got two Phillips screws on the housing. We're just going to loosen those up and take them out. This is how it looks once you got the housing all opened up. Take note of the cable orientation. Let's get the new one installed. So this is a first. Right out of the package, this thing was already broken. As you can see, the little tab that holds the cable in place. It's a brand new grip, man. Oh well. Let's at least move on to replacing the brake lever. Just gotta remove this bolt, plop the new one in. Alright, so the plot thickens. I got this pulled out, and looking at it, this OEM one is a lot thicker. So this is an aftermarket brake setup, and this is not going to work. So I got to get a new throttle tube and a front brake perch. Since I got to wait for these two, I'm going to go ahead and move forward and start disassembling the front end for these forks. We're going to do these two pinch bolts on the triple trees, but before I do that, I'm going to leave that one locked. and actually crack the bolts at the bottom of the forks loose first. I'm going to come back, pull out the axle, loosen the triple tree, pull everything apart. Another thing I'm going to do is crack these loose as well while it's still tight in the trees. Here's those lower bolts I was talking about. Alright, let's go ahead and remove this axle. Once I got that pulled and put aside, I can loosen up the trees and slide these forks down. Once the bolts are loosened, usually you can just kind of rotate and wiggle the forks down. They'll come right out. You can spray some silicone or lube in there if you need to, if it's not coming out easily. Now, if you run into this like I did with this customer's bike, where you got a green sticker on the fork, you don't want to damage that. So what I'm going to do is pull the bolt off at the bottom of the tree, and I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver just to open up the trees a bit more. I was able to get it out, messed up the sticker a little bit. Wasn't too bad though. Let's go ahead and move on. Please excuse the rain. I'm out inside my metal container. So this is the kit that we're going to be putting into these forks. It's all BBR stuff. It's an extended push rod and heavy duty springs. Here's the stock and the aftermarket BBR push rod side by side for comparison. You see we got a little bit different dampening holes, as well as the extra 1/8 length. All right, moving forward. I use a little flathead screwdriver to pry these seals up. I also use it to remove the clip that's inside. After that, I use both hands to separate the fork and disassemble it. I like to put the seals and everything in the line, like the bushings. This one was a little interesting. This style had a bushing that I had to use a slide pull hammer to actually get out. But now I'm going to get this cleaned up and ready for assembly. Alright, now that I got these all cleaned up, I'm going to start reassembling them. I like to use all OEM stuff when I rebuild my forks. What I'll do is I'll get the push rod installed first, get this cap put onto the bottom, and then we'll install into the lower fork tube. Once I got that all pushed in there, and I got the bushing installed, it's time to install the clip and get these seals put back in. Once that's all back together, it's time to tighten up this bottom push rod bolt. It's going to take a hex 14 socket in order to do it. And I have mine on a longer extension in order to actually reach into this. So you get that in there, hold it down, and then you can put proper torque onto this guy. Go ahead and do that now. Once that guy's all torqued up, it's time to add our fork oil. Once I have my fork filled up, what I want to do is bleed out all the air. And all I'm going to do is just run this through its travel up and down multiple times very slowly. After I set the fork oil level, it's time to install the springs. We'll slowly drop those guys in so we don't splash ourselves with the oil that's in there. And this particular kit has a preload spacer, so we're going to put this on top and then get the cap put on. Once you get the fork cap put back on, this fork's all done. Hit it with some contact cleaner, give it a wipe down, repeat it on the second one. Got this second one all torn apart. I like to use brake cleaner whenever I'm cleaning these things up. Once again, whenever I'm rebuilding everything, I like to use OEM. Even on these dampening rods, we're going to be replacing these little glide clips. Alright, going back together now. Let's get these bushings seated. Going to use a fork seal drive to do that. Go behind it, install these fork seals. Got to do the clip, and then we're going to do the dust seal behind that. Here's just a little comparison of the fork spring difference. The top one is the OEM, which is a dual rate. The bottom's BBR single rate. Alright, once those are all assembled and I got them put back onto the bike, it's time to torque down the triple trees. Going to be going to 16 foot-pounds on these guys. Alright, now that that's all back together, I was able to find another OEM throttle tube, and this one's not broken. So let's go ahead and get this guy installed. Nice. Let's go ahead and do this front brake perch now. Was able to find this guy at my local Cycle Gear.
Now that I got that all done, I'm going to move down and start replacing the spark plug. I already got it pulled out, and it honestly doesn't look bad at all, but we're going to put a new one in since we got it. Moving on to this chain now. This is what happens when you don't lube your chain. Well, let's find this master link and get this guy pulled off. I'm going to be installing this gold EK chain. Once I have that routed through the bike, and I know what size I need, I get my Motion Pro chain breaker and cut it to size. We pop the master link in, put the master link circlip on. Now that's installed, it's time to set the chain tension. Now that I got the chain all installed, I'm going to drop the oil. We're going to do a full service on this guy. I already have the bike warmed up as well. Now that's draining, I'm going to turn my attention to the air box. Let's get this opened up so we can get to the air filter. Here we go. Not too bad, I've seen worse, but it's a little dirty. That's the oil that came out, and there wasn't much. We're going to be putting some Maxima 1040 back into it. I'm also using the ratio right to measure out the oil level before I put it in. Now that I got oil in the bike, I got the air filter all serviced and cleaned up. Gonna get this guy installed. It just sits right in there, and then the cover goes around the top of it. As for the cover itself, it's just gonna have 4 little screws holding it. All right, we got all back together. So let's recap. We changed out the suspension front and rear and beefed it up. We changed out the rear chain. We replaced the broken throttle tube, the broken front brake assembly. We figured out his charging issue, his ignition switch, along with the full service. And there you have it. Check out the stance of this guy. It's already sitting a lot taller. Overall, this project was actually pretty easy. It just took some time. I think any weekend warrior guy can handle this in his garage himself, so definitely recommend trying it, whether it's for you or your kid's bike. Until next time, stay safe out there.